All right, welcome to the 5D Academy of Higher Consciousness. I'm Zarathustra, and we're broadcasting from Tulum, Mexico. So, the topic of the day. First of all, I need to find you guys back. Okay, I'm back. Okay, one of our participants has a question, a specific topic, which I think is very beneficial for everybody. So, Susanna, thank you for coming up with your idea. Why don't you ask me the question? You ask so everybody can hear it, and then we're gonna delve deep into this particular topic.
Okay. Should I remember it once more?
Yeah, just
so.
Yeah, that sounds good.
My topic is trigger.
Right.
The trigger of old trauma, of old themes, topics. Also the trigger of the mirror from another person or another situation. And what can I do to go on a better way or on a quicker way through this process from the beginning to the end, including going in myself, going to God, be in stillness or try to be in stillness.
So what is it that mostly triggers you?
My son.
Your son triggers you.
Yes.
And when you get together, how long does it take before he triggers you?
You know, the mostly is that I triggers him, and that makes a lot of with me. Sometimes 5 minutes.
Okay.
Or only a telephone call, it's enough. Or not a really clear situation. It's enough.
All right. So, okay. So in order I make sure our audience also understands what we're talking about, is that there's certain people or certain situations that will trigger us more than other people or situations, or certain behavior, demeanor, or action, or talk, speaking, it pulls the trigger. And in your case, for example, your son, I mean, if you were to choose, you would say your son triggers you more than anyone else. Right?
Yes.
Okay. Anything else? What else triggers you?
Your husband. When other things that triggers me, you mean?
Yeah.
Oh, sometimes my sweetheart here. Or situation where I'm in old in an old life with my family where I'm from. For example, that I didn't felt that I didn't have my place in this family, that I was abused to be the mother, but I was the littlest child, that I and all this stuff when I feel I'm not loved. And when I think my son don't love me, but I gave him the life. Where's his respect, for example?
Okay, cool, good. So when it comes to the topic of being triggered, basically getting triggered has to do mainly with the past. And it's a direct connection with the idea of the I thought. I am someone capable of doing certain things I am separated from the whole, and or I can refer it to my ego. And so when something happens that I don't really like or I don't resonate with, triggers me. And especially in the topic with family. And uh, I have the same similar situation. Like in encounters with my mother, I can get triggered very easily. So, or at least in the past, many different scenarios that happen that in in 5 minutes or 10 minutes, I can easily get triggered. So now, how do you deal with this? Because the issue or whatever is bugging you is not going to go away. It's going to manifest itself in different ways. It's always going to show up in one way or the other. So it's not really in the absolute reality when we look at it. This is not an external issue that if I can just clear up all the bugs in the system, I would not get triggered. And such thing doesn't exist. It's really impossible. What is possible, if we can do, is the recognition of the this fact, the recognition of the fact that there are certain things that are triggering me and they bug the hell out of me, and recognizing it. And by recognizing it, then the next step is our power of observation, being able to witness this trigger. A, identifying it, that I'm triggered. B, is that how this trigger is going to be affecting me as far as how do I react to it. Because again, there's nothing you can do about getting triggered. That's a phenomena that's going to be happening in life, and that happens for everybody, whether we like it or not. Whether it's going to be your mom, your son, or your beloved partner, it doesn't matter. The triggering is going to happen for everyone. And you're not excluded. I'm not excluded. Every single human being on the planet is got these trigger points that they're gonna have to deal with. So there's nothing we can do about that one. But maybe we can do something regarding the way we react to it. And as far as reacting to it is, there's some kind of understanding. The understanding of what? The understanding of the nature of the absolute. Now, what do I mean by the nature of the absolute? What is it I really need to understand? Is that I'm always in interaction with my own self. There is, this is at the very top of understanding. And the very highest level of understanding is the recognition that there is no others. Others do not exist. It's only myself that I'm looking at. Always, in every transaction that I do with the external world doesn't exist. It's simply a reflection of who I am. Now, when I'm referring to this, I'm not talking about an egoic reflection that, oh, I have created this whole world, it's all myself. And since I've created it, I have the power to manipulate it so it goes my way. I'm not referring to that. I'm referring to simply recognizing this, that one moment. Okay, we have someone new. Simply recognizing that everything is a reflection of my own self. Now, because I have come to this realization that everything is a reflection of myself, not necessarily as a human being, I have to like certain aspects of this relation, of this uh, existence. I don't necessarily have to have a resonance with all these parts of my own self. Some parts of it I like, some parts of it I don't. However, by changing the way I look at it, and don't know if you remember or not, um, in the past few academies, I've been referring to the levels of awareness, the levels of our understanding of the absolute. The consciousness business is basically based on from what, if you have the ability to look at things from another point of view. I'm looking at things right now from here. This is what I see, and this is my understanding. But if I'm able to switch my place and go sit the opposite way or sit on a different side, then I'm looking at reality from another perspective. And the success in expanding our consciousness and becoming awakened into this whole phenomena is to be able to look at stuff from a different angle. The more you have that flexibility and you're able to stretch yourself to look at things from a different perspective, from a different angle, the more you're expanding and the easier it becomes to digest things in life. And that changes the quality of life. It doesn't necessarily make life going the way we want it to go. This is not a formula for manipulating life. This is a formula to digest things and understand things. And hopefully, in that understanding, comes some kind of relief. So, when, for example, I go see my mother, which, obviously, do you know why your moms or dads, they can trigger you so fast, so quickly? Anybody knows? Do you know why?
For me, I feel that it is, I think I must protect my son because I love him and I'm the mom and I gave him the life.
Okay, so but
That's
do you
that's
know?
what I feel then.
But that wasn't my question. Do you know why moms or dads can trigger you like this?
They know all things better.
That's because they were in the factory when they were making you. They were in the factory when they were making you, so they know the very special, there's a little red button hidden somewhere, and they know exactly where that is, that nobody else knows where the button is, and they easily can press that button because they know all the essence. I mean, of course, this is a matter of joking, but the way I discovered, I can only speak for myself because this is the only experience in life I have. My perspective, the way I've deal with life and dealt before. And also living here in Mexico and living in a village or a semi-village, which a lot of things aren't the way we're used to in the West. And a lot of stuff that they do here, that it's really strange. Like why you're doing this way, or why, let's say I pick up something to put it in my mouth. Let's say I'm eating some food. and I get a spoon, or I pick up a piece of bread, and what do? You have a croissant or you have a cookie. So you pick it up and you put it in your mouth, correct? You do it the direct way. Have you ever seen somebody try to put food in their mouth from here? You know? And here, like in India, you see, like, sometimes this is an example. Someone's trying to eat food from here, and you want to tell him, idiot, just put it like this. Why are you struggling to put food in your mouth from this side? Why don't you just do it this way? But that doesn't make any sense here. It's like the system is that I'm going to try to put food from here and struggle to eat it. And you're trying to tell them, like, eat, put food directly in your mouth. Don't do it from the other way around. But it doesn't work that way. It's got its own system of doing things. And sometimes it really triggers you. I mean, it just drives you crazy. And you want to scream over that. So all of this goes back again to not them doing something wrong, or not them just um, not knowing the right system, or your parents or your son or family or your partner, something's wrong with them. It always comes back into, for me, is myself, is I can't control the events of life, or what is going on. Maybe, and even this is just a big maybe. Maybe I can find some kind of awareness in how I react to what is going on, how I react to it. I cannot change the events, I cannot control the events, but maybe I can control the way I react to it. Maybe. This is just a maybe. And how do I do that? Is by bringing awareness to the fact that something has happened and has triggered me. And where's my ability to look at this situation? How can I look at it, witness it? And again, I may not be able to obviously control my emotions, or how I feel about a situation, but I may be able to observe myself, how I'm reacting to it, or how I'm feeling about it. Maybe I can witness my reaction and the emotions that triggers inside me. And by observing that, then there's like, okay, what's the lesson? What is it that I need? Why is this happening on a regular basis? Why do I have to go through something like that over and over again? What is it that existence trying to tell me? What is it that is mirroring back to me that this thing has to happen over and over again? So you kind of forget about your son, forget about the town you live in, your country, your government, your prime minister, your mayor of the city, your boss, your son, your whomever. Everything comes back to me. Always. You have to just start with yourself. And yeah, there's many things that are screwed up in the world. There's so many screwed up things. So many stupid things happens. So many stupid things people do, obviously. And the world is full of flaws. But how do I react to any of that? And how do I figure out this place that I can stay in my own center and not be triggered or bothered by the events that are popping up every day. Because here, living in Tulum, I can get angry every day, five times a day, by all the stuff that happens, or the stupid things that maybe some people do. Like, you're just like, what? But all right, so if I'm going to go that route, I'm going to be angry every day, all day long, over something different. And it could be, I could be just and right, but then that's going to be my life of just being upset and angry all the time, or disappointed, or adapting the behavior of accepting what is, an acceptance of this is how it is. Take it or leave it. This is the nature of this area. Are you are willing to come to peace with it, that this is how it is, or you want to bang your head against the wall or against the situation and trying to manipulate it so it goes the way you want it to go? So again, everything comes back to my ego and the way I look at things. Can I stay the witness and somebody said something and they trigger me, which happens, every day or every other day or whatever. And can I observe this trigger? Something has triggered me. Can I observe it? Can I look at it? And what kind of power does it have over me? What does it do? Is it going to change or affect the truth of who I am? Or it's just a bubble coming up? Maybe it comes up 5 times a day, but what would it do to me? What power does it have? It only has power if I react to it and I allow it to be something important. If I'm able to simply look at it and not react to it and not give it importance, then what kind of power does it have? It's powerless. In the meantime, adopting this attitude that people who are triggering me are actually my guru in the moment. They're my teacher. And as difficult as it is, as challenging as it is, I'm not saying this is easy, especially like in this situation, like going into the field and dealing with my mom, which is a very loving person, but it can easily trigger me, is like before I arrive there, it's like I park my car, I pause before I go into her place, and I say, okay, Zarathustra, you're going to go there and you're going to have to stay the guru. You have to be the awakened one, and you have to be this ninja warrior, and you have to activate your self-awareness mechanism, because you're going to be triggered every 5 minutes by a different thing. So you have to stay zen and not react. And that's what I do. And then it's interesting, the moment you forget and you come out of your center, boom, she triggers you, and all of a sudden you get upset or you want to react. And then those are the moments like, oh, she got me. The master got me. And I have to come back again to the center of myself. So the people are triggering you, you can look at them as your guru, as your teacher, giving you an opportunity to master your craft, giving you an opportunity to stay in your center rather than looking at them as them, that they're unconscious or their behavior is foolish. You shift the way you look at it. You're not looking at it from this point of view. You shift your place. You're looking at it from the point of view that right now, for the next 1 hour, I'm dealing with my guru. I'm dealing with my teacher. And my task is not to react to what triggers me and to be 100% watchful and witness, observe the triggers that arrive and look at them. So you change the way you look at stuff. Does this make any sense?
For me, absolute. And I do this. In my youth, I was, after such situations, dissociated for weeks. I can't do nothing. Only be there like this. I can't cry, I can't laugh, I can't do nothing. And now I'm able to live, and I'm able to feel, and I'm able to say to my son, for example, yes, I know that I want something what's not right to want it, or but it's important for me to say you this. When I was young, I wasn't able to say it, and I love you too. Also, when I say you this, what's not so nice, for example, but I love you, and it's okay. I look inside me, what happens.
Yeah.
And we love us. And it's so great for me that I can do this now, and that I can look from, that's what I mean with a higher position.
Yeah, I get it.
Yes?
So now you have the guts to speak your truth in a cool way, which before you were afraid of telling your truth. Right? Cool. So
yes.
anybody has any comments, questions? So it's a good time if you have a question. Hi, Lydia. Nice to see you. Hello, Katrina. Is this the first? Yeah, is this the first time we meet?
No, I have come a few years ago. I did I forget what you did, some sort of healing type of session, which was so beautiful. And so you're in my calendar, so I can come on Thursdays and really make this a priority. I'm definitely really resonating with a lot of what you're saying, especially around just like the relationship with ourselves and deepening that, and that's really an everyday practice. I find as you're talking, I'm just like taking deep breaths, like, yeah, that's so true. And like constantly wiggling out of when I feel like ego is coming up, and taking deep breaths around that, and like giving space when I feel like that arises, to get more, to reconnect with myself and feel, and just to really feel that connection. And I think that comes up in daily life in so many different ways, like spiritually, of course, like making time to be around other people that have similar values, but also like physically and emotionally. So I'm just, I think you said something that I wrote down. I was taking notes. Something around that you don't necessarily have to resonate with all parts of yourself, which I was hoping maybe you would expand a little bit more on that, because I've never quite heard it put
Right.
that way.
Yeah, that's great. Thank you for bringing this up. I'm more than happy to. Also, where are you located, by the way?
I'm in Connecticut,
Okay.
in the United States.
Okay. I had a friend visiting. He left last week. He went back there. He was looking at the weather, and I don't know
Glad he
how. Because the photo behind you, it looks like a spring day. So
yeah.
But so anyway, yeah,
it's cold.
it's cold. That's what I hear. Great. Yeah, I'm more than happy to explain this. The if it depends in what level of consciousness we're in, as our awareness is expanding, and especially when we're dealing with this particular teachings and concept, which is the 5D quantum awareness, which is rooted in Advaita Vedanta teachings. So for myself, as I started to become more awakened, realizing that there are no others. Others are simply aspects of myself. And whether it's good or bad. And when I started examining myself, I started to see like inside me there's a tyrant, there's an evil person. Inside me there is a very loving person. Inside of me is uh, a murderer, and inside of me there's like a saint. They're all in me, and it depends on the circumstances where I'm at. It can get triggered, and just like I can react, I can kill someone if I'm in a situation that has triggered me to the point of uh, losing my awareness, or being so angry or have to defend myself. I can do some really dark stuff. And in the meantime, simultaneously, giving it the right situations, I could do very loving, beautiful things too. So realizing that all of it is within myself. And in this realization, the next thing was like, okay, I'm not separated from anything else. Everything is a part of myself. So, but there's certain people, certain groups of people, or looks of people, or behavior of people, even though I recognize that the whole thing is myself, but I don't necessarily have to like in a human level, in a human body. Let's say I'll use a different example. Let's say I go to a party or I go to a restaurant, and I'm sitting there, and I'm sitting next to a group of people that they're really loud and they're yelling, and they talk very loudly, and they start bugging me. And it's like I can't stand these people with their conversations or their loudness. Even though the awareness is there that this is myself, but I don't necessarily in a human level have to like these people. So okay, maybe I just gently get up and leave, go to another table, or just leave the place because I can't stand it. Or if I'm in a party and I'm meeting people, it's a social gathering situation, and I look around, there's 100 people there, and maybe I only like one or two people in there that I feel like I want to put an effort in meeting them. The rest of the people, I just simply don't like the way they look, or I don't like the way they are. That's perfectly fine. I don't have to like everybody. I don't have to talk to everybody. I don't have to listen to their stories. And that doesn't take away from the level of awareness. That doesn't make me like I'm not awakened to the truth of who I am. Yes, I have, or I do realize it's all my own self. So I do love their essence because I can see behind their shell, inside is God is living there. And that part I love. But I don't have to like the way they're behaving, the way they smell, the way they talk. That part, in a human level, I don't have to like it. And that's perfectly fine. So, again, answering your question, okay, I walk into a social gathering, there's 100 people. I don't have to like 98 of these people. And that's fine. That doesn't mean my awareness is low. That doesn't mean I'm not awake. That doesn't mean I'm not a holy man, or I don't have love of God. It's simply certain things I like and certain things I don't. I'll give you another example. I have a bunch of friends here that they have dogs, cats. Sometimes one of our friends has a nice, beautiful place by the ocean, and sometimes he's having a party there, and there's like 8, 9 dogs running all over the place. And you're sitting there to eat, and these dogs are running around and they hit your plate, and you lose your food. Or they're all over you and they want to lick you. I'm not a dog person. So it annoys me because I don't want to be sitting somewhere eating and something comes and licks my face. And sometimes, my friends say, "Oh, you don't like dogs." I go, "No, it's not like I don't like dogs. I don't like something comes and licks my face." It has nothing to do with a dog or a cat. I just I just want to sit and eat my food at peace. So if something's gonna come and rub me or stares into my face the whole time because they want some of my food, yeah, it bugs me. Am I a bad human being? Am I unconscious? No. I just don't have that resonance with you who loves, kissing your dog on the face, or sometimes dogs having this white stuff around their face, and they're licking you and my friend is licking them. Well, that's your thing. I don't have to necessarily, that's not my thing. That doesn't make me a better person or a bad person in life. It's just I don't have a resonance with it. I don't have a desire for it. Similarly, is you may meet some redneck in the middle of Arizona who they love to go in the middle of the desert and pull out their shotguns and start shooting at stop signs or things like that. I don't take any joy from doing that, but they're loving it. It doesn't mean they're good people or bad people. It's just we don't have anything in common with each other.
What about when, like, I guess, like shifting it inward, when we have those pieces that like come up within ourselves? Like, I imagine everyone here is very sweet and nice, and like we all have like really good intentions around like loving. But then when we have those our own pieces of ourselves internally that come up, that we're like, whoa, that negative thought, or when we're in those awareness around that we are in states of stress, when those arise, of kind of working with those internal pieces that arise for ourselves.
Can you be a little bit more specific, giving me an example so I understand it?
Yeah, like when I know when I get like overwhelmed or stressed, before I am able to name that, I'll start having like negative thoughts, like everyone's irritating me. And I'm just like, wow, like I'll just start thinking how annoying everyone is, and I just want to be alone. And I'm like, oh, okay, that's my signal. I'm overwhelmed. I need to like do something to like relax or reconnect with myself. But I'm also a mental health therapist, and I deal with a lot of people that go through a lot of trauma. So sometimes some of the things that they share with me, like when I'm not with them, will pop up in my head. And I know it doesn't feel like mine, but it just sort of will like pop up and feels kind of like startling for me sometimes.
Right.
So I have done like where I'll cut cords and just try and like recycle out like the energy that isn't mine. But sometimes that like just initial startling that sticks with me, and I'll get like some panic attacks on occasion around it.
Right. I mean, number one is for me, again, I can only speak of my own direct experience rather than just explaining any kind of theories or other people's teachings that is not my understanding. Is I feel like that's perfectly fine. Like if people are bugging you, uh, the what happens is one of the qualities that we start developing in this consciousness business. The more we start expand and become self-aware, the more people irritate you. The more sensitive you're expanding and you're becoming more sensitive. And let's say before you could go sit in a restaurant, the restaurant is something for me. For example, this restaurant where I sit, the lighting of the restaurant and the noise of the restaurant. Something like 20 years ago, 30 years ago didn't bother me. Now it's really important for me that when I go sit somewhere, it's not super loud, or I'm not close to the kitchen or the pathway, people coming out of the kitchen and they're banging the door all the time. I'm not in a place that the music is kind of like disturbing. It could be loud, but it could be some kind of music that I resonate with. And or sitting somewhere, let's say you're on a dinner date or you go with a friend of yours and there's a big light bulb in your face. And to me, it's always like, they're not doing me a favor. They're not giving me a free dinner. So I don't have to sit somewhere I don't like to sit. I don't want to sit there and go through the motions like a robot, spend $50 or $40 on a dinner and suffer through it. So it's like I get up and go, or I try to change my spot so I'm comfortable with it. And because they're not giving it to me for free, I'm paying for this. So back to what we were talking about is I have observed with myself and a lot of my other friends who are aging that the more I'm expanding, the more selective I'm becoming with a lot of people. And which 20 years ago, 30 years ago, I didn't have that issue. It wasn't, I was like going, it was much easier, more fluid for me. But now it's like, no, I don't want to hang out with people who talk too much. I don't like the kind of people who want my attention all the time. Look at me, look at me. Or they want to keep talking about nothing. Or if I'm go to sauna or steam room, and then there's sometimes people talking so loud, either I have to ask them to become quiet, or if I feel like they're going to be aggressive, I just gently leave and go somewhere because I want silence. So I don't think it's a problem. It's just you're getting more sensitive and more selective and becoming more comfortable with the truth of who you are rather than, oh, I am expanding, I'm this huge, big, awakened spiritual teacher, and I have to love everyone. No, I don't have to. And also, another thing, maybe I'm talking too much on this, is most of the really truly awakened beings throughout the history of mankind, a lot of the masters, a lot of people who went through a full self-realization and awakening, they are hiding out most of their lives. They don't want people around them. And they're fully realized. They have gone to this awakening that they're one with everything. But in human body form, they just don't want to have people around them. And that's perfectly fine. Because they've become very sensitive to other energies.
I think you're sort of reframing it for me instead, because I'm just like going in with a negative thought of like, oh, I shouldn't be having these thoughts, when just realizing that I am more sensitive. I do like to spend most time by myself, long hours, like in silence, or, I just get very sensitive to sounds and vibrations that they feel very grating.
Yes.
Like nails on a chalkboard type of situation. And I'm just like, oh, I gotta get out of here. Where are the mountains? Take me to the mountains where there's no people.
Yeah, look at that. Actually, it's not as it's actually a positive thing. Again, it's like what I said earlier today. Said, if you're able to look at something from a different point of view, and all of a sudden from a different angle, there's no problem. So
yeah, as you're talking, I feel like I'm seeing different parts of myself sort of like move and shift around, and being like, oh, okay, there's this perspective, there's that perspective, and there's no wrong perspective, just one it's just not I'm not resonating with that. And if I shift somewhere else, now I'm in resonance with self.
Exactly. That's right. And also keep in mind that, okay, so you're starting to work with somebody, you're doing your therapy, and then all of a sudden some thoughts come, negative thoughts come. So what? I mean, negative thoughts or positive thoughts, they're the same shit. Excuse my language, they're thoughts. And thoughts are thoughts. And you're not your thoughts. You can develop this practice of simply observing them when they arrive as thoughts. Obviously, sometimes they're coming so fast, so quickly, so you can't just pick them. But I give you an example. I'm walking on the street. Let's say I'm somewhere, there are people walking on the street. I'm passing by a large size person who's dirty, or they're a street person, or they're having an ice cream and the ice cream falling down on their clothes, or they're overweight, and without even having intention, the first thought comes to me is, what a slop. She's so overweight. She's so gross, for example, right? This thought goes through my mind. And typically in the past, then I would come home and I would give myself a lot of guilt trip that, oh, Zarathustra, you're a holy man, and shame on you, and you haven't evolved because you had this thought, and give myself a hard time. Now, the way I look at it is, this thought is an innocent thought. Thought comes, oh, what a slop, or what a dirty person, or whatever. Now, am I going to entertain this thought afterwards? Am I going to start elaborating on it and keep thinking about it and keep judging this person? Or I'm just going to have the thought and the thought goes. If the thought just arises and occupies my mind for a few seconds or 10 seconds or whatever, and it leaves, and I'm not entertaining it anymore, it's an innocent thought. If I pick it up and I start just analyzing it and haggling with it and wrestling with it, now, since thoughts are weightless, they don't have any weight, but when you pick them up and you get involved with them, they drag you down. So it's perfectly natural for you days be irritated with your clients, or certain things they say, they're bugging you, or it's like, oh my God, again, and have a negative thought. You're not doing anything wrong. Every single human being is having the same reaction. It's like, are you going to take it seriously and judge yourself, or are you just going to hear it and let it go? And now there's no story.
Yeah, it's almost like the more I get irritated with it or reject it in some way, that creates the story, and I'm picking it up and adding weight to it instead of just letting it pass on by.
Right. And it may just come back again. Sometimes, something happens with somebody, a friend of mine, or a situation, I don't know, with whatever it is, or my motorcycle's broken and I'm dealing with the mechanic, or I take the bike to someone to take it, registering the bike, and they rip me off, and there's a lot of scenarios here happens that you get ripped off. And then I can see, like, half of the day or the whole day, my mind keeps going back into this situation. And it just like, it's like a needle. It's someone sticking a needle in me. And then again, okay, I let it go, and then it comes back. And I let it go, and it comes back. And what I've learned is, okay, the thought keeps coming back. Am I gonna judge myself that I'm stuck in this thing, or I'm just simply gonna observe it, because it's like a weather report, and the mind is giving you weather report continuously, blah, 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 blah. Can I create this? Can I adapt this behavior of listening what I'm hearing in my mind? I can't control it. It's like BBC News or CNN is just going blah, 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 blah. So can I adopt an attitude that this is just noise? Or am I going to identify with it that these are my thoughts? If I can adopt an attitude that it's just noise, and eventually the noise is going to go, then I don't suffer. If I identify to it that it's me, then suffering comes.
I think something else that's coming up and I'm aware of time too, because I know everyone has to go at 1, is like a piece of compassion. Because when something negative does arise and you react, like have some feeling towards it, like that is normal. Of course, I'm going to feel a certain way when someone tells me something awful, or if it pops up in my head, I'm going to my body might react because that's an awful thing. And I have a heart and compassion. And so as you're saying that, I'm shifting towards like, well, yeah, I need to actually introduce a little compassion here towards myself to also let the thought like move through instead of holding on to it.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. I'm glad you brought this up. Yeah. We have this ability to disconnect from the story, whatever is the story in life. And the world is all the stories you're hearing about Donald Trump, you're hearing about the fires, you're hearing about this, that. The story is happening non-stop. It's like news. And the story of the world is, it's like it's your own mind. It's a busy, disturbed mind that is continuously blah blah blahing. And you kind of notice that whether these thoughts are internal or external. And you kind of disconnect from it. In the midst of the chaos, all these things happen. You got the ability that to come back here. You can come back into your own center. And as you're shifting your attention, you're bringing your attention back into your own center, all of a sudden you see how quiet everything is. There's nothing going on. Everything becomes very calm. Every single time, anywhere you are, no matter what is going on, if you disconnect from the world outside and turn your attention inwards and go back inside yourself, you will see how quiet everything is. You come back into silence. You come back home. It's silent, it's still, it's safe, and nothing's going on. And the byproduct of that is the love. You come back, you go into the silence within yourself, and suddenly the presence reveals itself. You feel the presence of Her Majesty, the Supreme, and you can feel the love, you can feel the bliss. And this is your own, this is your treasure. This is, you have this. And you have access to it at any moment in your life, anywhere, no matter where you are, no matter what is going on in the world. You simply got to disconnect from that and bring your attention inwards. And then boom, it's quiet. And that gives you the opportunity to remember the truth of who you are, no matter what's going on outside. What's the narrative? Whether you're financially into trouble, whether emotionally you're into trouble, whether you're going through anxiety, you're going to lose your, whatever is the story, whatever is the story, you come back to your own center and it's quiet. Nothing's happening. Okay. Well, nice seeing you all. My return schedule to Europe is almost complete. So at this moment, we're scheduled to be in Poland it's in March, and I have like a number of different events in three different Polish cities, and then it ends up with a 3 day workshop in Warsaw. And then after that, I go to Hamar, Norway to see my dear sisters, Hilde and Marit, and hopefully anybody else can make it. Who knows? Maybe things work out and I come to Frankfurt, maybe not. But for the moment, Poland and Norway, they're in the mix. So a copy of this broadcast will be emailed to those who have signed up with us through the 5D Academy of Higher Consciousness from our website. We're simultaneously posting this on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. My website is Zarathustra.tv. And if you want to reach out, you can send us an email at info@zarathustra.tv. In case if somebody's watching this on social media and you feel like this video of this broadcast is of any value, I appreciate it if you forward it to your loved ones or people you feel like they may be able to take advantage of this. Other than that, I look forward to seeing you next Thursday. Nice seeing you all.